Welcome back to Breakfast Central. The Federal Executive Council, chaired by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has approved major initiatives covering infrastructure, education, military welfare, mental health and public finance reforms. About 438 billion naira was approved for road construction and rehabilitation nationwide, alongside 173 billion naira in public-private partnership projects aimed at improving key highways and easing transport challenges. In education, the Federal Executive Council approved the transfer of recovered, EFCC funds to the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFUND, to strengthen student loan access, excluding fund tied to ongoing legal cases. And for the armed forces, the council approved the purchase of 600 four-bedroom terrace duplexes in Abuja to improve military housing and welfare.
On mental health, the government moved to decriminalize attempted suicide, shifting toward a public health approach and targeting a 15% reduction in suicide cases by 2030. FEC, that's FEC, also ordered a forensic audit of government systems following the PFIPC scandal, aimed at exposing administrative loopholes that allow the fake agency to access official codes and appear in the 2026 budget. To discuss these developments, we're joined by public affairs analyst Professor Simon Nnah is here with us. Thank you so much for being here, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Great
Good
to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Great things we see there at the Federal Executive Council meeting. While they sat, they highlighted some of the key things. We've broken it down to our audience, but we're going to take them one after the other. You've been more concerned about how government is run and what they're doing for the people, the impact, and here they are. They're answering to you and to other Nigerians who actually put them there in power. I can see you're smiling already. Good stories. Let's start off first with NELFUND. All funds that are recovered by the EFCC should be channeled towards the Educational Loan Fund, which is NELFUND. And also they said it will help to strengthen the loans that students will take, excluding funds tied to ongoing legal cases. What do you make of this? Let's start off with education.
Well, you know, I've always said that I don't criticize government. Rather, I critique government policies. And if they do anything that is okay, we say it the way it is. I don't like people cracking the issue. I put issue on the front burner and I say the way they are. I don't like calling a spade a farm implement. Now, if these funds, mark my words, I choose them carefully. If these funds will actually be moved to that fund, it's a good one. That's the first one. The second issue is the administration of the fund itself. How is the fund being administered? Because some of us have watched events and we discover that most people down south don't get that fund. But up north, a lot of people get that fund because we even saw that people down north were educated, students were educated on how to access that fund. And I don't think the same education has been given to people down south. So that's my worry, so that people will know exactly how to access those funds. That's the worry I have. And again, they didn't tell us how much EFCC has recovered. They just say all funds recovered by EFCC. Well, let's pray that those funds will actually be transferred to that fund once the courts okay them. Because, you know, if EFCC recovers any fund and it has not been okayed by the court,
Mr. President did specify that it's not funds that are subject to litigation.
Litigations, yes. Okay, that's all right.
Okay, so I believe that we can move on from NELFUND. Does anyone want to speak on NELFUND? Because I want to go to infrastructure.
No, I think that's a good one.
All right, so let's talk about the 438 billion road investment. Road has been a subject of discourse in this administration, with the fact that, first of all, the coastal highway became a major symbol of infrastructural development for this administration, with the criticism as well as the applause that it has received. Do you have faith that this would improve Nigeria's roads? Do you worry about this? Do you think it's an effort in futility? What are your thoughts in general about this, investment in road infrastructure?
It cannot be a fault in futility. But my worry is the awards. There was no bid anywhere. You just woke up one morning, called one of your friends, and mentioned an amount and gave him a construction. I don't think things work that way.
Biggest
in a sync plan.
project in the history of Nigeria.
Yeah. I don't think things work that way in a sync plan. There would have been a bid. Recall when they started that road, they asked the minister whether he did
environmental
impact assessment, and he said he did so. Only for us to recover that they never did that. If they did that, they did it so badly that when they started up the road, they discovered there were cables. In fact, the MTN and whatever.
Oh, submarine cables.
Yes, now, and the submarine cables, they began to complain that if you do that road on that alignment, you are going to put everybody in darkness. And you are going to put everybody without internet and what have you. So they had to now walk back. And the buildings they destroyed on that route, have they paid compensation? Up to now, some people are still crying. So you see, when we want, there's no good way of doing a bad thing, and there's no bad way of doing a good thing. What is good, and what is bad. So if we must do things, can we follow procedure? Can we do it procedurally and ensure that things are done the right way? You don't just throw money to friends. You don't just give job to the boys. No, it's not done in the same clan.
Now, Prof, let's talk about, we've talked about NELFUND infrastructural project, but let's talk about the human beings that live in Nigeria. A huge number of them living in multidimensional poverty in the millions. We've also seen the menace of street urchins in Lagos State. There's an army of unemployed youth, not just Lagos, across the country. We've seen these laudable projects, NELFUND, increase in salary of military personnel. There's also 438 billion spent on roads. But beyond all of those projects, what about the quality of life of the Nigerian individual? We have millions of children that are out of school. Do you think the government is paying too much attention to infrastructural projects while neglecting the people, or these things would automatically trickle down into improved welfare of the people?
You see, when I listened to the minister yesterday, I was livid with anger. Livid with anger because I used to listen to him before he became a politician, because he's not a politician. You see, yes, if you look at the macroeconomy, there's improvement. The blue chip companies are smiling to the banks, but the masses are crying to their beds every night. So if these things must be done, it has to trickle down. In Nigeria today, we don't have the middle class any longer. You are either poor or you are bastardly poor or you are bastardly rich up there. So these are the issues. So you cannot say you have a good doctor, oh, you have one of the best doctors, and people are dying in your hospital. So what have you achieved at the end of the day? The problem is that the masses are suffering, and up there they're not seeing it. The blue chip companies are smiling to the banks every day. Let me give you one or two examples. Now, before this administration got in, the common granules that people eat was about 500 naira. Today it's about 2,500. Cement was 5,000 naira. Today cement is 15,000 naira. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? The masses are suffering. And you talked about, unemployment. Even the ones that are employed are underemployed. These are the issues. There's just very few people.
So do we need specific policies to target some of these issues we've raised? Or because the government doesn't seem to be addressing, or the ministries or humanitarian affairs and the ministries will just take care of that?
Which humanitarian affairs?
We don't seem to be...
Is it the humanitarian affairs that were feeding people during COVID when people were not moving out? They reeled out the sums of money they spent feeding children they didn't know their homes during COVID. Is it the same humanitarian ministry you're talking about?
But this
or is there another one?
Different administration.
Oh, different administration. Have you forgotten Dr. Betty Edu? Have you forgotten her?
We've moved on.
We have moved up. Is it not this ministry?
Betty Edu is not the first one. Before her, there was Sadiq Kumar.
After her.
Yeah, no, it was after her. It was after her because she's been crying. I've listened to her that her name needs to be cleared.
Yes.
She's been crying on social media. I've listened to her on television too. So what are we talking about? So let's forget all this rhetorics. I don't like it.
Are we waiting?
The aesthetics is not looking good at all.
No, Prof, 90% of, Nigeria's economy is hugely driven by SMEs.
Yeah.
So are we waiting for the SMEs to absorb those armies of unemployed Nigerians? Or is there any way government can help ease the pains of these SMEs too that are crying?
Yeah, let there be a level playing ground for these SMEs to thrive. It is not the akra frying or the corn roasting that we have been told. That's not SME now. That's not the SME that will improve the economy. We've been told that people that don't have jobs should start frying akra or roasting corn or doing kuli. I mean, these are not what will move the country forward. We have some entrepreneurs that need to up their ante, but they don't have the funds to do that. So if government can make funds available to these genuine entrepreneurs, then we'll be talking. You see, let me say this thing. During the IBB regime, we took a loan. What is it called again? And that loan, we took it with India and Brazil. You know what India did? They discovered then that they didn't have toilets. What they now did, they didn't have these sanitary toilets,
yes.
WCs and what have you. So they had more of pit toilets. So they recruited their artisans to begin to do this, and then the roads. They used their artisans to do that. At the end of the day, they came out of the doldrums, and they were able to pay back the loan they took from World Bank. Here, we had DFRI. And you know what we did? They gave contract to people to do boreholes. What they did was buy overhead tank. So when you look at this, you are not looking at government alone. You are looking at even the contractors. They just bought tanks, put overhead tank, and put water there. Water finished, borehole ended. In Brazil, they tagged their own to the US buying the product they will produce. At the end of the day, when they produce, US said it was substandard. They said, well, you have breached the contractual agreement. We are going to pay. That's the way it should be. So at the end of the day, America said, okay, give us the standard and we'll buy. Say, provide your standard to us. And they did. And they start buying. And at the end of the day, they were able to pay the loan. Were we able to pay our own loan? The answer is no. What happened? We shared the money. We can't continue this way now. How many years down the line, we are still towing the same route? No, it cannot work. There needs to be a break and there needs to be a change. And until we do that, let's not fool ourselves. We aren't going nowhere. I can say that, and it resonates with me.
Okay. I believe that you're referring to the structural adjustment program.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about maybe the light at the end of the tunnel in this whole development. There's the mental health. The government has pushed for the decriminalization of suicide. So for those who did not know, before now, or even up until now, if you attempt to commit suicide, they will criminalize you. So it's literally double wahala for dead body, that fella sang.
Okay.
So they're pushing for this, and they're pushing for targeting a 15% reduction in suicide cases by 2030.
How are they going to do that when the hunger is increasing? Most of the people that are killing themselves because they can't afford the basic needs. That's why people who don't understand take their lives, as if when they take their life, that will be the problem will be solved. So the only way to do that is to ensure that there's food on the table of the common man. If you are not doing that, then we are just speaking grammar. Because at the end of the day, you aren't going to reduce nothing. Rather, it will be increased. If the hunger in the land continues to increase the way it's doing now.
So in that Federal Executive Council meeting, they did have a very robust discussion. They almost touched on all the issues affecting the state of the nation. And one other issue they looked at is the embarrassing situation of the now prince of particular concern, Prince Adeyemi. Some are saying maybe he's not a prince.
It's not a prince of particular concern. I love that. I love that.
So they said that they would look into lessons learned so that Nigerians cannot just wake up in the morning, open domains with .gov.ng, walk into Federal Secretariat like it's Banex Plaza and rent an office, you know, to prevent all those sorts of breakdowns that happened. What systemic weaknesses allow the fake agency to infiltrate government financial systems? And how can they be permanently fixed? Because it was really embarrassing for us.
It still is embarrassing.
You see, the problem I have is that you are asking what lessons, that we should learn lessons from it. You don't learn any lesson when you don't agree that you have committed an offense.
They said it's only that man that committed offense.
It's not true.
Him alone.
It is not true.
He's a genius.
Now, I've gone through the gamut of the investigations that they have carried out so far. They were trying frantically to blame the provost marshal of road safety for giving plate numbers. They were trying frantically to blame the head of service. The National Assembly exonerated themselves for approving a budget for a non-existing agency. Now, the first move they made was that the presidency exonerated themselves without even any trial. How do you do that? No, without any trial, they exonerated. See, I'm a fellow of the Institute of Private Investigators. And in investigation, one of the first things you do is to follow some leads. The guy gave some leads and nobody thought about them. He said there was a Tanimola.
Who had died?
And the Tanimola
who had died mysteriously.
Died mysteriously. And the hotel where they said there was an infernal and he died there, the hotel has been bulldozed. And nobody's asking questions. Now, he said, in fact, people have gone to courts that he borrowed 400 million from them. They have gone to EFCC.
Testimonies.
Yes, to say, please refund our money. He said he borrowed that money and he gave it to a particular individual. His own mind was about it. He didn't say he gave it to the Blues. You see, I followed this case fender to bumper. He said he gave that money to a particular individual in the presidency. And nobody there, they just said, no, he didn't collect the money. How? No, you see, the criminal laws of this land says everybody is presumed innocent until proven guilty. What we're saying is that let them, you don't shave a man's head behind him, let them bring this guy out and let him split the beans.
And why is it that?
So if you are covering up, what lesson do you want to learn? When you are covering everything up, please split the beans. Let's see who is who. Then people that, you know, were involved should be punished. And until you do that, you cannot learn any lesson. That's the truth, because there's no wrong way of doing the right thing.
Well said. What a fine way to wrap things up with that conversation. Just to mention that at the NEC meeting as well, there's a push, FEC meeting, I beg your pardon, a provision of 600 duplexes meaningfully address broader welfare and moral challenges within the armed forces. 600. The FCT minister had built some for those in the judiciary, now for the armed forces. So Nigerians, relax. It's coming to
It's not enough.
Relax.
And there's also a target against ghost workers.
Ghost workers too.
Fraud.
Especially the one that they saw in the police.
But haven't we embraced technology?
I don't know. Now that we're having fake agencies, I just pray we don't have fake ministries anytime soon.
Well, we'll wait. Anyway, we'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more conversations here on Breakfast Central. Stay with us. Thank you so much for coming.